I'm Peter Block in Washington, D.C. at TCT. Pam Douglass is standing next to me from Duke. She needs no introduction, echocardiographer supreme. And Pam has now looked at the 5-year outcomes of TAVR. Pam, this is important material because everyone is talking about deterioration and these valves aren't going to last and it's going to be terrible, terrible. And all of a sudden we find out that maybe it isn't so terrible. So tell me about the trial, what you'd studied, and what the outcomes are.
So we took every successful TAVR, procedurally successful TAVR in the Partner 1 study, 2,500 patients, 6,500 patient years of follow-up, and followed them with the protocol-driven echoes analyzed by a single core lab out to 5 years. And what we found in a population basis was some really interesting initial favorable changes in mean gradient and valve area, followed by rock-solid stability out to 5 years. And this was exactly what we saw in the surgical valves, much less 300 surgical valves in the trial, but exactly the same pattern and exactly the same stability. So very, very reassuring.
Well, everyone's been talking about this for the last 1.5 to 2 years about the possibility of deterioration. There must have been some.
Very, very little. On a population basis, we didn't see it. The people who died and had reinterventions actually had lower gradients than the people who survived. And this was related to lower EFs and lower stroke volumes. So didn't see it on a population basis. On an individual case review basis, there were just 20 reinterventions in this population of 2,500 patients. 5 of them, only 5, due to a structural issue. The rest were paravalvular leak or endocarditis. 1 AS, 1 thrombosis, and 3 transvalvular regurgitation. Very reassuring.
That's almost unexpected, isn't it?
Well, I think so. We worry that we might have missed people who died, because the echoes in the trial were surveillance echoes every year. So somebody could look really good and then sometime over the next 12 months deteriorate. But again, on a population basis, we didn't see that deterioration, and we had over 10,000 data points. We should have seen it. We also looked at the VARC criteria for severe AS. Just 10 patients had an increase in mean gradient that was greater than 20. Just 11 had a valve area, a mean gradient at any time of greater than 40. And 44 patients had a Doppler velocity index of less than 0.25. And their profile in terms of events, death, cardiovascular events, reintervention, was exactly the same as the overall trial.
I'm almost tempted to say crazy because we've been all talking about this so much. And now let me ask you the final question, and that is, can we finally put this to rest, this business of deterioration and valve thickening, thrombosis, whatever you want to call it? Can we just say this does not cause any major issue?
I think we can. I think we can say that this is a legit finding because it's been replicated, but we just don't see it reflected in clinical events in this data set. And it may well be that there's a deterioration signal much later on, which would be expected. It's the same as the surgical valves. But for right now, over this medium-term period, the transcatheter valves look identical to the surgical valves, and they both look very safe, very durable.
Well, if nothing else, that's reassuring, isn't it? And for all those folks out there, the naysayers who said at least to 5 years, right, Pam, mm-hmm. that this is going to be a problem, are going to have to hang their heads. We've now shown that, in fact, it is not a problem. I'm delighted to hear it. I'm sure you are as well. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.